The Spoken Token is a proud member of the Pod Studio One podcast network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into the big show. I am Larry Neal, and that is
Alex Wallace.
And we are the Spoken Token. Mr. Alex, sir, how are you doing?
I am flummoxed. No, flummoxed is not the right word.
That's a good word, though.
For all of those playing big word bingo at home.
Get your cards out.
Get your cards
If
out.
you're just not getting them out, you're late.
Alex said flummoxed. Oh, I've got a bingo. No, I'm sitting in front of someone who's famous
Don't you go there. Don't you
for
go
one
there.
day. I had to take this opportunity.
Don't you go there.
No, this is too big. This is too big. We are two podunk board game podcasters. We get no recognition, and you, my friend, are your ugly mug.
But we don't do it for recognition.
I don't care, but your ugly mug is posted on the homepage of Board Game Geek. It's only for a day, and unfortunately, I wish it was for you being amazing all the time, but in recognition of BGG.
That's got to be true first.
That's true, yeah. But no, so for those of you who don't know, Larry was actually featured as a Board Game Geek, one of Board Game Geek's. What's the actual official title? What is your official title, sir? Are you an influencer? What is it? Celebrating Black History Month, Larry Neal Jr.
Yeah.
So that they are.
And the list,
Yeah,
geek
I mean,
list,
Larry is up there with some real people, y'all.
Shout out to, well, I guess they're just shouting out to everybody. So, no, I appreciate it. I appreciate you pointing it out. You know me, I wasn't going to say anything about it. But I really do appreciate Board Game Geek. The whole process was amazing, mind-boggling, and they did an amazing job, and I'm very, very, very grateful. I will say this, welcome to everyone who is here because of this or because of some of the things maybe that Van Ryder did earlier. Welcome, guys, into the show. We're glad you're here. We hope you stay because you find something that you like and something that you can identify with in our board gaming hobby. Wow.
Yeah, if you're new, if you found us because of the BGG article, I'm gonna just warn you now. Like, it doesn't get much deeper than what we're doing right now. So if you have not turned us off yet, you are in for a treat.
That ain't true. It does get deeper, much deeper.
Yeah, well, maybe the mess I step in is what it.
That's exactly what I was thinking about.
No, but it's just kind of surreal.
It is, but you know what, too, now that you bring this up, and I appreciate you for bringing this up in this instance because everything that you're saying is right. Since we maybe do have some new listeners, maybe we can just briefly, because I know we want to do something maybe in writing or maybe a show later on, kind of recounting the whole story, but let's kind of briefly maybe reset the table of, what we do and why we're here.
Oh, so we're actually going deep, Larry. And this is not like, I mean, I was just talking, let's be superficial.
Well, no.
Because, I mean, that's what the people want. We've got to give them what they want, Larry.
So if they're coming here, if they want to be one of the spoken, which means those that interact with us.
But remember we talked with Chad? I thought it was like the Tokenites or something.
No, man.
They're the spoken?
It's the spoken.
Oh, man, that's super creepy, but kind of boss.
You said it last time, too. But what we do, of course, we like to share, I guess, our tagline, and we don't say it a lot, but we really try to do it. We like to share life with board games. One box at a time. So when we're dealing with it, it doesn't mean one game per show. Obviously, if you haven't listened to us, don't think that means one game per show. You'll hear this show. We'll cover more than one game. But when we're talking about that game, we want to talk about that game. But we like to take it from the angle of sharing life with board games. So we talk about what it's like to store them, what it's like to buy them. We get into other things if it's touching the board game hobby,
board game adjacent, if you will.
Right. We want to get in there and we want to cover it. And the show came about initially. There's such a wonderful landscape, and there still is, of board game podcasters out there. And I definitely recommend, I'm not going to throw names out at this time because I am going to do that officially.
Because you are now one of them.
Well, no, I mean,
you're in the upper echelon, sir.
I'll do it officially at some point, but I'm not going to throw them out now. But the point is, I was getting my fill, for the most part, listening to the group that's there. And some shows to this day that I've both taken inspiration from and still listen to. But there were some things missing. And this show was created initially, for me, creatively, the creative spark was what I felt like was missing in terms of those angles, and then people can call it what they want, but I prayed about it, and God led me to Mr. Alex to come and sit across from me, and I was like, okay, I knew him, but we didn't know each other like we do now, obviously, after doing the show for 5 years.
I think you just, scared people off of religion right now, because if God led you to Alex...
If that's all it takes...
there must be something wrong.
we'll cut it right there. But anyway, and so we started the journey, and he got in behind, and we got the vision going, and we talked about it. And that's what we like to do.
By the way, Larry and I knew each other.
we did. We
Yeah,
did.
like-
we knew each other. Yeah, we knew each other.
Larry didn't just feel led to go to the.
We had volunteered over board game stuff at the board game.
Yeah, absolutely.
At Roll the Dice.
At
Yeah.
Roll the Dice with our friend Dave. So Larry and I mean, we knew each other. We had played games together,
Yep.
and we had talked. I mean, proverbial shop.
Yep.
In the shop. I mean,
Yeah,
like
that's another thing that inspired the show.
right,
for me.
exactly.
Mhm.
We talked about. I mean, at Roll the Dice. It was our cheers, and some of you listeners, some of the older spoken out there, know pour 40 out for that one. But Roll the Dice was our cheers, and so we would sit and we loved board games so much. We would sit and talk about board games.
Yeah.
And we would, since we knew the owner Dave, we would get kind of the inside of the retailer perspective.
I got to go to origins behind that.
Yeah, and he took us there, and that was wonderful.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And we saw people bring prototypes. We saw people just general habits and kind of
We helped them unload boxes.
absolutely
We swept the store.
like for real.
Dusted games.
Yeah, and so this show was born out of those conversations, because I remember when Larry came to me and was like, "Hey, this is what I want to do." I immediately said, "Okay, cool. Why are you asking me?" And and as we see, I mean, he and I have interesting takes on different things.
Right.
He is still wrong about that board game movie that we watched a couple of months ago. Well, I don't even remember the name of it anymore.
That's how good it was.
That's how good it was. But I still to this day, Carl actually before we started taping today says, "Did those people listen to the divorce episode?" Because I mean, for those of you new people, Larry and I, you may not have seen it, but we got heated over a stupid movie about board games.
Oh my goodness.
But ultimately, what we want to do here is provide a space. Because listen, we will occasionally, and hopefully, and frequently, occasionally is not the right word. Frequently, we will give you our opinions on games in our ecosystem. Things
Right.
that we get access to, or things that we
Because that's important, and that's
right,
part of it.
absolutely.
We don't do numbered reviews though.
absolutely,
Right.
and
we do talk about games.
yes, but more than that,
In that light.
board gaming is more than just the games that you buy.
Absolutely.
And that's why the hobby is so pervasive. That's why it is so infectious.
Yep.
And that's why it is so fulfilling.
And that's what we want to cover.
Exactly. Because board gaming is more than just
Right.
a retailer sport.
Right.
And so we don't want to feed into consumerism. We want to feed into the community aspect of it.
Absolutely. Community building, bridge building, sitting around that table for me now, whether I know the individuals or not, whether it's at a convention, going on that shared adventure. For those of you, like you said, that maybe they haven't been with us, for me, every I look at every board game box, it's a new world. Just every time I open it, I'm giddy with excitement. Whether I'm sitting there
I wish that I
quietly or
could roll
stoic-
my eyes at you when you say that.
But it's true.
It literally is the truth.
It's the truth.
I mean, sometimes I actually thought, oh, he's going into a diabetic coma with that shaking. But no, he's just excited about the new world.
Right.
That's
and
it.
We're about to go into a new world, so I want to see what is going to happen. But at some point, every time I play a game, I sneak a look. I look around, and just everybody corporately enjoying that wonderful thing is amazing to me. It's never, from the first time I realized it at the tender age of 4, which is a true story, till now.
That's a
it's-
really creepy image of you sneaking like a peek at people playing a board game.
Well, I was 4, so I wasn't sneaking to look at 4. I was looking, trying to get my cue, because at that age you're looking at your older siblings like, what should I be doing? What should I be doing? And literally, that's what I was doing, and I remember it vividly. And it dawned on me like, wait, we're playing together. I'm not having to defend myself. I'm not trying to watch out for the older ones coming to get me. We're doing this together, and then the game itself was cool, and so that's what started my journey with board games. It's legitimately been lifelong, and that's what we want to cover.
Yeah.
That's what we remember. So welcome in if you're here. We hope you find something that entertains you, and that, or at the very least, entertains you. But hopefully, we get a little bit of education too. But we're going to end up being family when this thing is over with. On the other side of it, we are one big board game family. That's what we're looking to do.
Wait, so you're calling your shot. You're saying like, hey, listeners, by the end of this, you coming over for Christmas.
Sure.
Or you have one of those Christmases you don't invite everybody. You getting a card.
I wasn't talking about the holidays just yet. But let's get in the family first, and then we'll go from there.
All right.
But no, welcome everybody. Welcome in, and I guess with that, we should probably get on with the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Spoken Token Podcast number 84. This time, Alex and Larry talk about some of the latest news surrounding the hobby board game world, cover several titles that they're looking forward to obtaining in 2021, and discuss why. They then share some of their favorite non-board game items that they have used to make everyday life with board games more convenient and so much more. So, sit back, relax, set a bookmark so you can get back to web browsing later and turn us up as we join your hosts, Alex Wallace and Larry Neal.
You know what? For those people new, I keep saying new people. Listen, I mean,
To everyone.
to everyone. This first segment, we are actually going to be looking at doing one of Larry's favorite segments, and it's a fun segment for me. But it is called Beyond the Box.
Woohoo!
So this is, like we kind of talked about in the front, we don't just talk about retail board games and stuff, but we talk about living with board games. And one of those things is we really like to discuss options for storing your games, maybe juicing them up a little bit,
Yes,
blinging
sir.
them out,
Yes,
or
sir.
even just making gameplay easier, better for you. We want to talk about some of our favorite non-board gaming accessories
Yes, sir.
that we use in our board gaming hobby.
Yeah.
So, all right, Larry, do you want to start with kind of some of the things that you've maybe repurposed for like from Walmart or something to effectively use in your board game? And
Right. Well, in this first one, I actually went out and purchased them, but they're not for board games, but I use them for them. But I went, the hobby store. We have it at Hobby Lobby here, but I mean, they have them at Michael's and other places like that, whatever your hobby store is. But the little plastic jewelry containers,
yeah,
the little round ones,
Mhm.
those are great bin boxes, guys. And they make the real small ones that have the screw-on lids that screw to each other. And those stack, so you can have a stack of them. And they're round and plastic. I mean, they're all the same size. You can get them like small, medium, and large. I get the small ones, but those are perfect for bit bins.
bit bins.
And of course we've got some really cool stuff now with trays, I think, and some of the other ones. The little silicone bowls, I love those too. Those are made for board games. But these, in a pinch, if I need some of these, if I know I need a game that's going to need something maybe that'll make it a little bit easier to play. Because for the most part, with the small ones, like I said, they screw together. So you can have them, maybe 4, 5, 6 inches long, but they all screw together in the end so you can keep them. But they generally fit in the box. They're so
Yeah,
small.
yeah.
Unless this box is really, really packed, they'll generally fit in the box. So you can put your bins in that thing, in those guys, separate them out, screw them all together, and then close the box. And then when you need them, you just unscrew them and sit them out on the table. So those have been huge. I do like those. Those are in my Runebound Second Ed was the first game I did that way. All of the heart pieces and stuff. And then the other thing I do, actually, I bought these as well. Got them on the same trip the first time I went because I knew about the little round ones and I went looking for them. But the bags for jewelry, because I do baggy everything, and I can't use sandwich bags, man. It ain't gonna work. So what I do,
Why did you look over here, Larry?
I didn't. I was looking at the board over there.
No,
Your head was down. I saw you in my peripheral
no,
vision.
But I felt your eyes on me.
I didn't look at you. when
I
said it.
felt them. And I don't use sandwich bags, sir. I use snack baggies. They are significantly different and more conducive to game pieces.
But you get the jewelry bags. And you get those in 3 sizes in one bag. So you'll get the small, the medium, and the large. And I just keep a bag. I keep a bag of those. And also, too, on this note, now something that I don't purchase, anything that I get that comes in a plastic bag that's self-sealing, that goes in my bag of baggies, man.
Bag o' baggies.
Yeah. So what? My razors, sometimes my razor refill cartridges. Now they've changed the packaging; it doesn't come in it anymore. But they used to put the little thing that held the razor cartridges in a self-sealing plastic bag. Every time I'd be like, yoink, that's going in the bag of baggies. So that was one of my favorite things. And those are a couple of things that I use to open up with for me in terms of I can actually play and or store the games. What about you, sir? I know you've got a couple of.
All right,
things that you use as
I've got
well.
my 2 that I think everyone needs, and then I got one kind of a special item that's not necessarily for everybody. But the first one I discovered by accident within the last 2 months, and I mean, literally, it feels it's life changing. And Larry's seen me like bring him out, and I'm like, "Look what I did, Larry! Look what I did!" And he's going like, "Oh, okay, man, that's cool."
Looking like Noah.
Yes, that's right.
Look just like him.
my 4-year-old.
I
So
was acting like him too. I couldn't tell the difference.
I couldn't tell the difference. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate that. But whoa, I'm knocking the table over.
See,
so
you did.
it's Horatio. Horatio is back. For those of you who are new to us, Horatio was the bug that found his way into our studio last time, and apparently made his own segment. Luckily, because that segment was boring, and even we were so bored, we started talking about a bug.
I thought it was great.
Oh yeah, because we talked about a bug. But my my first actual non-board gaming accessory would be silicone cupcake liners. So
I've been out looking for those.
see that
Before I saw you guys using them, and I never went out of my way. I should have gone to like a Bed Bath & Beyond probably and found them.
you know,
But
you
like,
get them at Walmart.
well, I don't really go to Walmart.
That's true.
I was in the
We
grocery
go.
store. I was in the grocery store looking for them. Whatever
Mhm.
you said, I'm not paying attention to you. And so, and I remember because I saw them online a few years ago, and they were color coded. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
And I was thinking, I'll never have to worry about using them for baking.
that's true.
But I never found them.
Yeah,
And then, but you're right. You brought them out, and I was just like, oh, they are awesome.
they are. So silicone con. I guess there's an E, so it's silicone cupcake liner. So I mean, it's a real kind of a rubbery plastic. It's meant to take the place of like paper cupcake liners, so you can reuse them. But they're perfect, absolutely perfect for most games that have like small bits or maybe pebbles or we used them for Lost Ruins of Arnak. I use them. Jackson and I use them for our Star Wars Legion game for keeping all the little like damage counters and all that. It just they're flexible. They're really easy, and like Larry said, they come in a lot of different colors. So and they're really inexpensive.
Color
So
coding is a
honestly,
plus.
and actually, that's a cool thing you could do is if you found the colors that match maybe the resource particularly that they're storing, you could just sort of put them in the box and then like, okay, oh, brown ones go in the brown one,
Yep.
red ones go in the red one. I mean, that's a great way to use it. Again, super inexpensive,
Yeah.
really easy to use, and easy to find.
Yeah.
Though Larry couldn't find it, I don't think he looked hard enough. But that's just me.
Well,
So-
I wasn't looking for them. Yeah, I was.
but you just said you were looking for
I
them.
mean, I was grocery shopping and thought about it. Like, oh, I'll look around for these.
So you were in the potato chip aisle saying, I should go look for silicone cake liners.
No,
And then you got to the pickle aisle and like, I forgot.
no, I was actually on the flower aisle when I thought about it.
The
'cause
flower aisle.
with
Like,
the cake mixing
oh, okay.
and cupcake.
All right, that makes legitimate sense.
And I'm like,
Okay.
well, where are they? And then I went to the utensil. It was a grocery store.
There you go.
And then I went to the utensil row and they didn't have none. I'm
Eh,
like, well,
none, yeah.
okay, let's go to the chicken aisle. I'm done.
Give me the chicken. All right. And then, all right. So my next one, we've talked about this at length here for various different things, but I thought it would be worth mentioning here.
Absolutely.
Is Plano boxes. So Plano boxes.
Tackle boxes.
Tackle boxes.
Plano is the name brand.
Correct.
Plano.
I'm not country saying Plano boxes. No, it is called Plano, and so you all right, Larry?
About to pass out.
You weren't ready for that one.
Boy, you slipped into that real easy, my friend.
But no, Plano boxes, they're tackle boxes. These you can find them at Walmart, guys. Like they're inexpensive. They are incredible. I've used them for storing my copy of Carvana. I use them for all sorts of like collectible game. Like I use them for my my Imperial Assault collection. I mean, guys, the uses of this are just out of this world because they come designed to be divided for individual spaces that are modular, and they're inexpensive. They're clear.
Yes.
Just all of the things. And
Right.
I mean,
I was gonna say because I got into Plano boxes and I figured you were gonna say this one, so that's why I didn't put it on my list. But I'm with Alex. I cannot recommend them highly enough. Now I will say this: cottage industry within the board game storage industry is springing up where they're doing bags that are kind of partitioned to kind of sort of do the same thing. But yeah, guys, the Plano boxes, like you said, I have a couple. I have 2 huge tackle boxes that I use for fishing that are also Plano brand, but I've got 4 that are used for.
you threw them fingers at me like 4 of them.
Yeah, well, I would have to count. I was counting in my head. I have 4 of them that are for board game stuff.
Larry really struggles if anything goes over 20 though, because he got nothing to count off though.
And then I've got the little plastic inserts because that's the other thing. You can buy those separately.
Yeah.
Like some of the Plano boxes are just a big shell, and then they'll accept the plastic inserts.
Well,
that you
actually,
can-
most of them, especially like at the $3 or $5 range, like they come with the little. You don't even look at those.
no, man, that ain't big enough.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
Well,
that-
all right. So here, where to find these? You can
Mine
get,
is a big old honking thing.
all right.
It was $30. What you?
okay. Well, I get the
Now my inserts,
right.
those cost $4 or $5.
Right, yeah, and those are the ones that come with
Yeah,
come pre-divided with
my-
dividers.
And my biggest shell
Mhm.
was $19,
Okay,
and it's huge.
yeah,
And it takes 7 of those,
okay.
but it didn't come with any.
Oh, okay. So I see what you're saying.
So I
now.
was able to buy the ones because
Yeah.
those come pre-set up, like you said, and some
Right.
of them come with more options.
Yeah.
But like I was going to say, they're so versatile, guys. I mean, you can put cushion in them. I think the difference, and this is the thing I wanted to say, I probably should have went straight to this. The ones that are popping up in the board game industry that are like these, they're soft-sided. all the Plano boxes. The Plano does make some soft-sided ones too, but most of their stuff is hard plastic. But the ones that are popping up in the board game industry are particularly aimed at miniature gamers,
Yeah,
obviously.
and so they have the
And they have the foam in them.
they poke out. Yeah.
You can do some foam in these, but maybe not so much, depending on because they're only so thick
Yeah.
in terms of the depth of it. But these are tremendous, tremendous values. Definitely support the board game centric ones winning where you can and where it makes sense.
Right.
But if you don't need something that specific, yeah,
And
Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's,
absolutely.
go
Like
get you
what's
one of
so
these.
great about Plano is most people have a Walmart near them,
Mhm.
and so they're in the fishing tackle aisle.
Yep.
So go to the sporting goods section of your Walmart, some Targets have them, and if Targets will typically have them in their camping aisle.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll see them in their hardware aisle. But go to somewhere that has an outdoor section,
Right.
and that's where you're going to find.
You know, it's funny you bring that up. If I had thought about it, I should have thought about it. I can bring mine out. Should probably take some pictures of it. It's still I bought it from MechWarrior,
Mhm.
Dark Age, and that's basically still what it holds. But that was pretty neat. That may be the winner. I was thinking it was a silicone cupcakes, but cupcake holders. But the Plano boxes. I'm just sitting here now thinking about how versatile those
Yeah,
are.
literally, like I said, like you can things like Carvana fit. They fit inside the box. Caverna. How do you even say Caverna?
I think it's Caverna.
Caverna.
yeah,
That's one of them weird ones that ain't nobody know. So, but
except for the person who
except
made
for the
it.
person that made it. Hey, and if he wants to call me, like we'll interview him.
We'll put it on the app.
That's right. But you could do that, or things like restored miniatures. Like I used them for X-wing. I used it all this kind of stuff. All right, so I have kind of a last minute addition. That's again for a specific type of player, not necessarily for everybody, because you actually need another something to make this thing even better than it is. But that is the artist supply box from Hobby Lobby. It's meant to be for like someone to carry around painting stuff as well as small easel and or paper and such. But I mean, it's just like what it says. So it's an artist supply box. But this is almost the industry standard for carrying any type of living card game. So much so that Broken Token and what are the other couple of insert companies have they make inserts specifically for the artist box. So this is the artist supply box. You find it at Hobby Lobby. I do believe that there is one on Amazon, but like the artist supply box from Hobby Lobby is the one that
Amazing.
Yeah, that one that everyone talks. Again, it's used by everyone for any living card game. So I have over Christmas, I stored my entire collection of sleeved Marvel Champions into that, and I still got some room to spare.
He was so proud.
I did. It's real janky though, but because I didn't spend the extra money to get the card boxes or the insert from Broken Token. I was like, I just get some foam, and man, I had duct tape in that sucker, and like things are sticking,
goodness.
and it's. I mean, janky is for those of you playing Big Word Bingo at home, we have used. What was my first word?
I don't know.
But the next word is
Flummoxed.
Flummoxed. So my first word was flummoxed. My second word is janky. So
And I've got another one here I'll throw in there, and it comes off of this one. It's a little bit smaller. It's way more specialized. You may or may not have these laying around the house, but if you've got a game where you possibly need these, if you get them, you will never, ever regret it. And that is for certain games that have come out in the last few years. Now, a lot of companies are moving forward and they're upgrading these components. But if they do something that's a well-used component that is circular cardboard, that's a marker that you're going to need or draw from a bag, something that you can do to help those is get coin protectors.
Oh, the coin protectors! How did I forget?
Yeah,
the most unnecessary thing, but man,
the most necessary thing on the list
is for real, for real.
They are fantastic. I did it with my Arkham game with those because you have to draw those out of the bag.
Yeah,
and they're cardboard. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't worried about them not lasting, even though that's a real possibility because they are cardboard. But I saw someone had done it online, and then I thought about it because you do put them in that bag. And man, when I got the coin protectors in, they're super cheap. I think I used quarter. You'll have to check based on your measurements, but most of these things are roughly the size of coins, so you'll use different sizes. The ones I used for that one, I think, were the ones for quarters, that encase quarters. And oh, they sound so good. They lay down in the bag, and they feel so good, and they have so much weight. And I mean, you're not going to open them back up to pull those pieces out. You know, they're completely clear because they're designed to look at both sides of a coin, so they don't interfere with gameplay at all. They do protect it, but then it does give it a nice, just takes your tactile level of that particular item in your game, that particular bit, it just takes it to the next level. Again, these may not be laying around the house, but they may be. But even if they aren't, I got the whole kit. I got enough. In fact, I have some of those left over because I got more than I needed for the game. And the whole thing was like $5.68. So I had to order them at the time. I didn't, but now the hobby stores that we're talking about, I notice now they carry them as well. So they carry the basic sizes. So that's another one that you can use as well. Throw those coin protectors on some of your cardboard round bits, man.
Oh yeah,
it's good stuff.
yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And, man, they feel good. They just feel
And
good.
it sounded amazing.
Woo, yeah.
Really, really cool. Well, cool. That's just a couple of things that we got that we wanted to talk about. Maybe you have some of these laying around the house. Maybe you don't. Or if you were thinking about, like Alex said at the top, if you wanted to maybe bling a game out, sometimes you're following people on Instagram, you're following people on Twitter, you're out there on BGG, and you see these games blinged out, and you're thinking, man, I would love to do that, but I don't have the income to do. Hey, you can do things to make your game both more functional, make it easier to tear down and play, and better to put up when you're done with it, and you don't have to spend a mint. You don't have to go and spend $800 to have your minis painted or to have certain stuff. You may not be able to get a broken token. I say you get one because they're fantastic, but until you do, maybe go get a $20 Plano box.
Yeah.
And maybe you can store your minis or some things like that.
Or even a $3 Plano box.
You ain't going to be able to put no minis in on a $3 Plano box. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, Willis. But no, so that's that particular genre. We may revisit this one again as we run across things. As we've kind of progressed doing the show, even the last 6 years, I've kind of moved away from some of those things, but that's really good. I think this is a super helpful segment because a lot of people do have things just laying around. And hey, do me a favor, guys, if you have something that you use that we didn't cover, which I know there's plenty, hit us up on our guild on BGG or send us an email and let us know. We will share your ideas moving forward. Mr. Alex, let's move on.
Please, sir. Please.
Done. All right, and we are back. Welcome back in, everyone. Hey, Alex. What's news, sir?
Oh, that joke is still corny. Live at 11.
It was meant to be corny from the beginning.
Ayo.
What we're going to talk about is some relevant things, current relevant news or new things to us in the board gaming world. And this one is a little bit more news tinged. I'll let Mr. Alex go first.
No. And the sleeping giant that only really was napping, actually not even sleeping, maybe has a problem, maybe needs a CPAP, I don't know. But it is a giant who is awake.
You had to call out CPAP users, man. That ain't cool.
No, I mean, just saying, maybe it's not really sleeping like it.
Next time we go on a convention, I'm not bringing mine.
That's okay. I'll still bring my earplugs.
Yeah, not going to help.
So, ASMODEE, the grand overlord of the board gaming world at this point. Actually, I keep forgetting Hasbro is the sleeping giant who we think he's opening his little eye, kind of like looking around like maybe. He's like Odin. He's like, Hasbro is in Odin's sleep right now, is what that is. And so ASMODEE is running around like Loki. That's exactly what this is. Oh my gosh.
That's pretty good.
That's exactly what this is. And then that would make you and I Matt Damon in Thor Ragnarok. So we're doing the little play. And we're Matt Damon.
Show gone.
Okay, moving on.
Rails? Show.
Okay, well, this is Matt Damon from Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, my goodness.
Bringing in a second. But no, ASMODEE, our benevolent board gaming overlord, has actually acquired independent online board gaming platform, Board Game Arena.
Yes.
So Tabletopia is kind of the gold standard, but well, as far as flash and presence, but I think Board Game Arena has a larger player base.
It's the meat.
The meat and the potatoes. Where
Yes.
the other one is the
parsley.
The parsley.
It's the flashy stuff. No, don't get me wrong. I like Tabletopia. I don't not like Tabletopia.
I think we've talked about this. Tabletopia has the better user interface. It looks slicker.
It looks better. They do have a better user interface. They have some back end problems with AI in terms of, well, not AI, but I guess UI, usability. Sometimes you can't pick up the items you need. Sometimes you can't select the items.
And so, all right.
And it's not scripted, which I didn't think was huge, but it is.
It is, yes. And so Board Game Arena is not necessarily a physics simulator, which Tabletopia is.
Right.
Board Game Arena is more of a scripted,
it's scripted. Top down is 2D. It's not 3D.
Exactly, which makes a huge difference.
It makes a tremendous difference. You can learn games over there.
Right.
Because it will not let you do things you can't do.
So Board Game Arena has been purchased by ASMODEE.
Yep.
And so what is big about this is that you have the largest board gaming entity at this point is now owns what was kind of this freestanding thing, but they have in their original press release they do maintain that Board Game Arena will be independent.
Keep all its staff.
Yes, keep all of its staff. They said they'll continue to operate as an independent entity and confirm that board games that the publishers not owned by ASMODEE will still remain in their list.
Yes.
Which is great. But they're already going to put ASMODEE is going to start pumping their games into that, which honestly makes me like this. I'm not sad about this news because of the. I'm sad that we're losing an independent platform.
Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, ASMODEE can support it.
Well, they can. I mean, and like you said, I mean, I've got a standing that when I can, I didn't get to do it this week. I'm actually sad about that. When I play with some of our friends, Cat House Gaming, that moved across the country, some of you may know, and so we don't get to get together physically anymore, but we play online every weekend, and typically we end up at Board Game Arena. I mean, it's open to anything. You know, we've used all of them, obviously, Tabletopia and Board Game Arena and a couple of the other ones. Just, you know, anywhere where the game is that we want to play that week, you know, we'll go and we'll play it. But we've ended up using Board Game Arena the most. So this will probably only increase that because you're right, because of all the brands that ASMODEE owns, the things that will show up there. I do like the interface, and I recommend anybody, if you want to play board game, these aren't digital, you know, adaptations or should I say digital games that are based off of board games. This is the board game in digital form. It is a very good way. It has been really good to keep up with my good friends out there on the other end of the country through gaming, through Board Game Arena, and even Tabletopia when that's when we do it. So especially now, it's kind of poignant. So that, you know, while we're still maybe separating out here just a little bit, if you want to get some gaming in, no, it's not the same thing. It's not tactile, but guys, it's really good though.
Yeah.
It's been a really good experience. And again, the gaming is top notch. I mean, again, the game is on both of them. You know, you're still playing the game. You're not getting that table moment where you get to sit around and look at everybody, but we have a separate video chat going, so I can still see faces, just everybody's on the screen. But no, I'm with you. I mean, right now, you know me, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm, you know, a little concerned, but I think in the short term, it's going to be a good thing, and hopefully it'll end up being a very positive thing. I've got a couple of items. One of them, this one is way deep into the geekosphere. Alliance Distribution has added Blue-Orange games. So
really?
Yes. So what that means is that a lot of people are going to be able to get Blue-Orange's games physically that maybe weren't before.
Which is great because man, Blue-Orange,
Yep.
like they've just some really neat titles.
They do, absolutely. They always have had, and so that is something that will be helpful to you in the long run. Whether or not you recognize what we just said, it'll make a difference. You'll start seeing Blue-Orange on store shelves. Whereas maybe you either only saw them at conventions or you went online and you have been ordering it from Cool Stuff and or Miniature Market and or whoever else. Now you can see them, which again, like you said, is fantastic. And the other one is the TCG market analysis for this year. And the title of the story of January sealed product sales trends favored Pokemon over Magic.
Really?
Pokemon is the king of the hill now.
What?
Yep.
Oh, but did you hear about the debacle with McDonald's?
Yes, I did.
Oh, that's worth. I think that's my next news segment. So basically,
well, let me say this before you go on. My news came, and these will all be linked in the notes. But mine came courtesy of ICV2. I want to make sure I always credit them. I've got the links. I'll have the links to those stories on my two in the show notes. Okay, yeah, the McDonald's debacle.
Yeah. So what had happened was,
did your boys get some cards?
No, we didn't get the card.
Okay.
But what you have is that McDonald's had to make an official statement to adult people that please stop buying the Happy Meals.
They're out of them.
To get the Pokemon cards.
They already did it, yeah.
And then scalp them.
Which of course they, you know, the people did it. And this is the thing. I'm gonna tell you what's really cool. One of the people that I follow on Instagram, Lauren Plays, and a little shout out to her. Her kids, her daughter, I think when she had COVID and it was her birthday, came around, she had some money and she wanted the Pokemon cards. And so they got her a Happy Meal with the cards. So she used the money to go and buy 6 more Happy Meals. The little girl did this. So she could get the cards, but because the card she pulled out was like the ultra rare Pikachu, the first one she pulled. So she was like, she was super thrilled about that, and she posted about it on her Instagram. I will link to her Instagram in our notes as well. And I remember, I just thought that was so cool. I'm like, you know, one, I'm sorry to hear that she's, you know, sick and hope she'll get better really soon. But that is so cool. I mean, you know, because here's a child and she's had the money and she's like, you know what? I want more cards. And so basically
you're promoting the card scalping from that little kid.
She didn't scalp them. No, she opened the pack, so clearly she didn't scalp them.
Did she eat the hamburgers?
Her mom put them in the refrigerator, so I'm gonna assume somebody did eventually.
Mm.
Cause she's little, she couldn't eat 6 Happy Meals, man. She a kid.
Man, you didn't see me as a little kid.
You didn't see me as a little kid either, but still, my mama wouldn't let me eat 6. You know what? Oh man, I predate the Happy Meal. That's sad.
You don't? Do you really?
I'm sad now. Yeah, man.
Well.
Yeah, I remember when it was new. And the McDonald's that we went to, I'll never forget the McDonald's that we went to, way off. Squirrel.
No, for real. This for those of you new to our show, Larry occasionally goes back down memory lane, and I just sit here quietly going,
That physical store has burned down. The same guy still, or the same organization owns it. They moved it a little further up the street. But I remember that one when I went to. It still looked like it was the old car hop design of McDonald's with the big, huge arches and all the stalls to park in. I never forget it because
which was modern day Sonic.
I remember thinking to myself, why do they have all these lines and we never use them? You know, because they were kind of faded, the crooked ones, and then they had regular lines because they hadn't had car hops for years at that point. But I never forget it. We went in there, and my dad would order it the first time, and it was cool. And you got a toy, and it had the box. And I was so hungry after I ate that little hamburger. It's like 2 fries in his bag, and then a thing of apples. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with these. It's not breakfast time. I'm confused.
No, they did. The original Happy Meal did not have the apples.
It had something. I can't remember what it was.
It was not the apples.
It wasn't apples. It was something else, though. Yeah, but it was the fries and a burger, and I don't remember what it was.
You actually ate the toy, man. These apples taste horrible.
No, man, it was plastic. No, and again, the toy was cool, and so that was one of the first. Bingo time.
Bingo.
It was the dichotomy.
Oh,
Walking in and me going, do I want the toy or do I want to be full? So we go way back, but no, I remember when Happy Meals were there was like this new thing. It's a Happy Meal. I remember that advertising. Okay, back on the show.
All right. Well, what a wonderfully educational "What's News" segment. Shall we move on, sir?
Wait a minute. I think.
We've got late breaking news coming in.
No, we don't have that. I was messing with you.
Oh, okay. Well, and now for some cool music.
All right, and we are back. Alex, what are we doing, man? What are we doing?
Oh, it's a news.
You're taking too long. It's a new segment.
Do you see what I see? I always try and sing the segments or a song that comes to my mind. It may not even be close or like any
I wish I could
connection.
say he was lying, but he ain't. He's telling it.
That's true. I will sing something. And unfortunately for you and everyone else, I can't sing. I couldn't carry a tune in a basket if held at gunpoint. So maybe at like a, kind of like a screech if you need it. I mean, like not like Dustin Diamond, but like.
Wow. So what I'm going to do is tell everybody what the segment is. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the varying number of upcoming titles. We're going to choose a criteria probably from segment to segment when we use this one. And so what we're going to do is discuss why we're excited about them coming and our reason why we are excited. In this episode, we're going to do a little short look at 2021's most anticipated games. Each of us has put together a list. We're going to do 5 total. 3 of them are retail purchases, which is something new, which I think is a great idea that you came up with, Alex. So these are ones that, as far as we know, are coming to retail. So you can go out into retail and pick them up or order them or whatever. And then 2 others can be from anywhere, whether they're a trade or obviously Kickstarter. So that made it difficult. I have so many Kickstarters out there, but I like this version better. Mr. Alex, sir, why don't you start us off?
All right. So I really sat through this and really contemplated, like, okay, looking at the landscape ahead, knowing what's coming, what is it that I know myself, I've already got my money set aside. Like, I mean, there have been times I'm like, man, I'm really looking forward to playing said game. But no, like, what games there's a little marker next to some cash in my bank account ready for these particular purchases. And unfortunately, this time I'm kind of with everybody else. My 3 most anticipated games, I think, are everyone else's 3 most anticipated games right now, which it kind of makes me sad because I don't like to be like everybody else. Because
Don't worry, you're not.
But thanks, Larry. But I mean, my gaming tastes are not that of the masses. But when I see that, like, all 3 of mine are 2 of mine are numbers 1 and 3 on the hotness on BGG right now, kind of makes me go, dang, because now it's going to be hard for me to get probably, unless I jump on the trigger, super fast right away. Or I'm like, it's like, well, but do I need it if everybody else is going to have it? But regardless, these are games that I myself, like, I'm ready to purchase right now. So number one for me is going to be Eclipse Second Dawn by Tuco
Yo.
Kilio. So it's the same guy that did the first Eclipse. So if that's helpful for anybody, and if you are listening to this podcast, number one, please call us. Number two, I apologize for mispronouncing your name. This is put out by, oh bless, it's a French company, La dot Fee. I got nothing. I've really got nothing. I mean, they're the publishers. And so if you are able to pronounce that, please share that with us. But it's Eclipse Second Dawn. They have taken everything that's wonderful out of Eclipse and just made it better. And it looks beautiful. I've seen some gameplay footage, and it plays slick. The tech tree is beautiful and awesome, and it has everything that you'd want in a 4X game. And I think actually like it does it quicker and more efficiently. So that's one of the big ones that I'm really looking forward to. I know that you can kind of purchase it now because the Kickstarter just came out, and I think the company actually has some copies, but like you've got to pay to ship it over here because they're in France and all that jazz. So I'm hoping mass market retail because I don't need all the Kickstarter jingle jangle. But all right, Larry, what's yours?
Jingle jangle. That's
Jingle
pretty
jangle.
cool. First one of mine is retail. Now this one initially, as far as I understood it, was going to a Kickstarter, but I found it in a retail listing coming soon at Miniature Market, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Cool Stuff has it listed also.
Okay.
So it looks like it's coming directly to retail, which I hope it is. So this one should be coming to retail. It may end up Kickstarter. I don't think it's supposed to be. And that's One Deck Galaxy, which I've been
cool.
because I love One Deck Dungeon, and I've been waiting for One Deck Galaxy, and that one's by Chris Cieslik. And it is absolutely very, very cool. I want to make sure I get this right.
Wow, that's really helpful for everyone.
It is.
Everybody. It's really, really cool.
It's really, really cool.
It's
but
really
it's
cool.
but it's published by ASMODEE. I wanted to make sure I got that correctly because I was going to say ASMODEE, and it's not. It's ASMODEE Games is the publisher on this one. And so again, it's in the vein. If you don't know, One Deck Dungeon, it's a couple of decks of cards. You have a character board, and you're rolling. It's got a lot of dice involved, which is really, really cool. You're building up your character. But the cards represent doors in a dungeon. And so you're flipping open the cards to open the door to deal with what's behind the door. And so One Deck Galaxy is going to be sort of the same. It's going to be the same feel, but of course you'll be your starship. I don't know if you're going to have a crew or not. Like I said, it started up on Kickstarter. He missed his date a couple years ago. He pulled it back and said, hey, you know what? We got some more work to do on it. And then it's been radio silent for me. I'm sure there's been some information out there, but I missed it. But then, like I said, when it popped up on the retail listings, I was like, absolutely, One Deck Galaxy. If that's popping up, I'm ready to pre-order that puppy. So for me, the first one, One Deck Galaxy.
Okay, nice. My next one, again, they're in no particular order. Again, I mean, like everybody else, I wish everything in my list would give you something new to look forward to, but it doesn't. So Eggert Spiel, owned by Plan B Games, has announced that they are going to, over the next 3 years, re-release Great Western Trail, a second edition. So this year, and then a new expansion. I believe they're expansions. Is that correct? Did I say that right?
I've seen that box, but I hadn't looked into it because I knew that.
Okay. I just know that this year, this summer, Great Western Trail is being reprinted in a second edition with all new art. And what's interesting about this is that I've owned Great Western Trail before.
Yes, he did.
I did. And this was back in my flipping days.
Y'all, he's still there.
No, I'm not. I'm much better.
He don't believe him. He's still there.
Much better.
He's flipping as he's sitting in his seat, y'all.
I am not. I don't even listen. I am not flexible. And you would hear a crack and a groan, and then the ambulance.
Don't let him misdirect you, y'all. He's still flipping.
No, I'm not. But regardless, I flipped this one too fast. I struggled. Okay, listen. All right, you are right. Okay, I did not give this one the time that it deserved. And
we didn't even get to play it.
No, I played it once.
You set it up. We didn't get to go through it. And I was thinking, hey, I was just beginning to get that. Let's play it. Oh, it's gone. What?
I know. And the problem is that, so this was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Did you flip it for Orleans?
No.
Okay.
I got a copy of Bruges for like $40, and Chad was like, bro, you're not going to get what people are paying for it. I'll trade you for an unopened copy of Orleans. I'm like, okay, fine. So, and it was my man Chad, so I didn't mind doing that at all. He's a collector, and I didn't even like Bruges. It wasn't even that good, but I knew it was worth a lot. Regardless, so Great Western Trail. No, I sold it. I just sold it, and so, but I now regret that. But not necessarily because I think it's an amazing game. It was that I truly didn't give it the time it deserved, and it's one of those that I am humble enough to see when a lot of people go, "Hey, this game is really great," especially people I trust, in the board gaming community. I need to go back and go, "Okay, what did I miss? What did I not do? Give it enough credit." And so that's I'm looking forward to this new one so that I can rectify my mistake. And yes, Larry, we will play it. And then if I don't like it, okay, I will play it again. And if I don't like it again, then I will offer it to you. And then you can have it. So don't buy it. Just wait. You feel better? You got that out of your system? You
Yeah,
good?
that's pretty good.
You good?
That's pretty good. So my next one, I'm just gonna move on, man.
You just do it. Just move on.
I'm just gonna move on. My next one, again, like Alex, mine are not in order, but this is one that's at retail. It's at retail right now, or it's coming up at retail soon, and it is Maglev Metro.
Oh, so glad you put that. That's been like teetering on my list. Like it's like, how can I fit that? Because it just like when you listen to this, it will have been it will have come out.
Yeah.
It's supposed to drop February the 26th.
Yes.
So-
I'm looking forward to because today is the 23rd.
Yeah.
So yeah, in 3 days.
So okay, you're gonna get that.
I think so. It
Okay.
looks really good.
Because if you're not, I will.
Yeah, it looks really, really good. Well, I mean, if you get it, I get it. I mean,
Oh,
it's
shut
just-
up.
it's
That
just
is
be
not the
real.
case.
Just be
That is
real.
not the case. It's most likely the case, but it's not exactly the case.
So, but no, this one looks really, really interesting. Of course, it's by Ted Alspach and Bezier Games is publishing. And it's along those lines of the great games that Ted has done, that, smart mental level
Yeah.
design, and it looks fantastic. It looks very interesting. It had my attention just at what it was, and then you're going to have, the clear tiles, and you're going to have the Metro map when you're done at the end. It's so fantastic. So I'm pretty excited about that one. I'm pretty sure. Now, what's funny? What was in this slot was Sentient, which is a Renegade game
Okay.
from a couple of years ago. That comes in and goes out of print instantly. And then, of course, in the course of doing this, it was in stock at Renegade. So technically, that one no longer belongs on the list of games I'm looking forward to because technically it's on the way. So we had to find something else. And it's amazing when you're doing research for
Oh, there it is.
I'll click buy.
Buy now? Why, yes. Yes,
Oh,
I will.
Oh, look, they have my address in the browser already. They know who I am. Yes, please.
Yes, please.
So, but Maglev Metro by Ted Alspach, and again published by Bezier Games. Really, really looking forward to that one, Mr. Alex.
All right, my next one, and this is all right. I'm a little frustrated rant here. Okay,
Uh-oh.
so Jamie Stagmeyer, bro, I like you. You're cool. You've done amazing things for the board gaming industry. Okay, but listen, because you put your name on my favorite book series of all time, everybody is like, oh, I want to be cool and I want to get the Red Rising game by Jamie Stagmeyer. And I'm like, no, you did not spend 3 years of your life waiting for those books and reading them and loving them like I did for this stupid game.
I think a lot of people did.
No, they didn't. They don't know the book that, listen, most of the people who were like,
I watched 2 videos of 2 different reviewers. I don't remember them because I know them, and they both were like, the only reason why we want this game is because we love the books.
okay, well, the general public, you are wonderful and great, but listen, this is a public service announcement. The books are so wonderful. Now, not like wonderful as in like, hey, tell your granny to read it, but like wonderful as in like some of the most action-packed, affecting
Granny can read if she wants to.
science fiction that I have ever read, and it's probably one of my favorite series of all time. And I mean, I put that up with the classics and everything. But my most anticipated game is Red Rising. This is by Alexander Schmidt and Jamie Stagmeyer. Now, I will say this, and this is one thing I think is going to surprise a lot of people. Watching gameplay of this game is a pretty light game. It's going to be
I'm shocked.
right, which is not Stagmeyer's. It's not his jam. But the game, it's a really simple card game. There's not a lot there. But the license alone makes me go, yes. But then my trust in Jamie Stagmeyer makes me go, this at least will be well thought through. Larry, don't you give me that side eye, sir.
Is it my turn?
Oh, my goodness. Listen, okay, but, well, you like Tapestry way more than I did.
Well, that's the point. Say you trust Jamie Stagmeyer, you booted Tapestry quick.
Yeah, because I saw what it was doing. I just didn't like what it did.
Yes, man, I know.
Oh, bless. Yeah, okay, so Red Rising, Stonemeyer Games, Jamie Stagmeyer. Give me your next one, big sourpuss. ruin all my fun.
You a piggy bean.
A piggy bean?
So
That is not even on their bingo card.
it is now. And that was a huge shout out to my brother. So he'll know what that means. And which one of them knows the one I'm talking to.
You know what? Your brothers are going to sit there going, he talking to me. Nah, I'm the piggy bean. Nah, I'm the piggy bean.
No, it's just one that's going to know where that comes from, and he's going to probably get a kick out of it. So anyway, we're going to move on. My third one, I'm like you, this one is probably on the list of the hotness. I don't even look. But I do want to get Dune Imperium. I do.
I came, like, my fingers are very, very close. I almost walked out of a board game store 2 days ago with that in my hand.
What?
Yeah, almost.
See, you're supposed to call me, and you don't. And then when I don't want you to call me, you like do.
Dude.
It'd be like a video call. I'm like sleep. He like video. Brandon's like, man, I'm not about to turn on the video. Man, I'm laying in the bed sleep.
Man, I found this really, really, really rare game that you mentioned once in your life. And you
What happened?
What happened for you?
What happened the last time you called me when you was getting ready to buy some board games? What happened?
You bought some?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna point that out.
I know.
Okay. So it's,
I bet you it's still in that store. I can go buy and pick it up.
don't mention it. I don't want to be. Tell me later. I'm going tomorrow.
I'll go get it tonight. I'll go get it tonight for you.
They open tonight?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Maybe they close at 7.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's definitely one. Yeah, I want that one.
And man, I have.
I'm sorry. Designed by Paul Dennen.
Yeah,
Oops.
but it has hit so many people's top 10 of 2020. It looks solid. It looks solid, but it's a very cutthroat deck building game. Some resource management, but it is like I don't regret you wanting to buy that because I'd rather you have it than me. Because my wife won't be happy with me. Why we have this game? Well, you see, baby.
Well, that's important.
Larry said that. Did I ever tell you how pretty you look? I know I have.
You know you spoiling all. You better keep some of this to yourself. She listens now. She gonna know what you're doing.
Now she only listens like every other episode.
Oh, she got that wife sense, bro. She be honing in.
She does listen to all the bad episodes.
Yeah, dude, because the last one she pointed out, I'm like, whoa, she skipped way ahead.
I love you, baby. You so pretty.
So let me move on into the others. My Kickstarter is brimming over.
My Kickstarter brimmeth over.
Not ones that I'm saved and looking for, but ones that I've already purchased that were funded that I'm waiting to ship.
Yes.
So that was pretty much a foregone conclusion that I'd be able to get both of mine would come from Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start with the first one. I am waiting on this one because it is so different genre-wise than anything else that I own or normally do for entertainment, but I do love the system so very much, and that is Final Girl by our friends at Van Ryder, designed by Evan Derrick and AJ. Thank you. I always trip over that. And you know what's funny? I talked to him not too long ago and didn't. Came right out. But when I'm in front of the mic, it's just like something about self. We had him on the show.
I may not even have said it right myself.
We had him on the show. You're going to have to say the end. I'll just be like,
he'll look at me like, dude, I'm your sponsor. You don't even know something about it. Bro, listen.
But for those of you who don't know, this one is horror game themed, and it is the quote unquote, you're playing the final girl, meaning the final one. In the horror themed tropes or the horror themed genre, the final girl is the last one that the protagonist is after to do their horror things to. And whether or not she survives or not will be up to you. So I think the theme is cool. Again, I'm not a huge fan of horror films, but it's based around, of course, the hostage negotiator system that they also created. So it's solo only game, and I'm all about those. And so I'm really looking for. I really am. I'm really excited. I just said I'm just going to run down my list of things that have funded that I'm waiting on, and of course, everybody's shipping is messed up because of the pandemic and all of these things and the container shortage. All these things are real. Chinese holiday, which is a real thing, obviously, stops a lot of these in terms of them being made if they're being manufactured in China. So there's so many different things that have them backed up. But these guys have been great. Like a lot of the other guys that I dealt with, my Kickstarters, I think I've been fortunate where they've really been transparent with, hey, this is what's going on. This is why we're delayed. But just the basic excitement for the game, that one would be definitely one of the ones that's on my list. And that's, again, Final Girl by Evan Derrick and AJ
Porforio.
Thank you. And
AJ,
Van Ryder
saying your name.
and Van Ryder Games is the publisher. Mr. Alex, what's your next one?
Oh man, we're gonna get an email. AJ be like, listen, it is it's good. We're gonna have it in with syllables.
Let me open my email now.
Yeah.
We ain't even live, but I'm opening it now.
Right.
It might come in while we sitting here.
All right. So this is my first one is a Kickstarter I backed last year, and it just seems really exciting to me. I enjoyed my time with Gloomhaven. I just didn't necessarily. It didn't blow me away. I loved the idea of it. The actual moment-to-moment gameplay was not my favorite, but I loved the legacy style system.
I'm so glad you didn't back Gloomhaven.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Me too.
I would not be. I don't know where to put that box.
Yeah, that for real. You're not wrong.
I know.
You're not wrong.
Oh, I know.
So
I already own Ogre, man. I'm good.
but I do like the idea of a legacy style game where you're telling the narrative story of a particular character or a group of characters, and that's why this one caught my eye, and that is Stars of Icarios. So this is by OOMM. It's I don't know if they have any other games published. They have a game called No Escape, and then Last One Standing, the Battle Royale game. But Stars of Icarios is a legacy game, and it's huge. So not only you are playing, basically, it kind of has a Battlestar Galactica vibe to it. So you're kind of this in a ship with humanity, and you're flying around, and you have this mothership called the Sparrow. But then you have pilots, and those pilots have special kind of RPG stats that will evolve as the game plays. And then you can do space combat with alien factions, or you can land on planets and do exploration, and based on certain things. It's just really fascinating. I love all of the story elements are going to be fully narrated. It will be app integrated, but everything will have a book so that you do not need the app to play. And
so both boo and yay.
Yes, absolutely. Booyah or booyah for those. No, I guess not. So that's coming out this summer. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, that sounds pretty. I don't know how I missed that one. That sounds pretty
It has
cool.
a lot of because I mean, we talked about this, and I said I'm getting it. You said like, okay, well I'll get it anyway. Just like all the things that you've said to me. So, but that's why
more often than not.
That's why you told me like buy the mat.
Oh yeah, it's one of those. Okay.
Yeah. No, but
then I will get this. I'm excited now.
I don't even remember if I bought the mat. So
man, I sent you $20.
No, you didn't.
Yeah,
no, you did. It was for something else, but it wasn't for that mat. So that's Stars of Icarios, and again, kind of a relatively new publisher out there.
Sounds really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about that one.
Super cool.
Let's see. The designer is Brendan McCaskill and Jonathan Thwaites. Yeah.
Okay. Very, very cool. All right, my last one. I bet you don't know what my last one is.
I probably don't.
Yeah, you do. You're not thinking about it.
I'm not.
It's coming on Kickstarter.
Oh goodness. Okay, hang on.
It's a Kickstarter game.
Yeah, I mean I get it. Okay, I got nothing. Because there's so many things that you lose your mind over. I can't just go, oh, it's that one.
Yeah, you can. Aeon's End, Legacy of Gravehold.
Okay. All right, never mind. I should have known that one.
Which, as of today, it is live.
Yeah.
And so I am definitely going to be getting on that one. I'm debating on whether or not I'm going to get it in one of the waves of content or not. Because that's a really good deal based on the retail price. I'll see. The base game is out there. I think it's 78. And then the waves of content, what they do is that they put their other games and its small expansions, and they consider that a wave. So you can add for less than twice the price. So we'll go from like 78 to like 130. I think you can get like that in a wave. So I may do that to get some more of the content. Love this game. Of course, is designed by Sydney Engelstein, Jeff's daughter, and Nick Little, and of course published by Indie Boards and Cards. Love this game. I've talked about it. I'm going to get into it some more. I'm going to do something special for it. I'm not sure exactly what format that's going to take just yet, because I have something on my table now at home in front of it that I'm still not talking about, that I'm playing right now, because I'm still working on how I'm going to present that as well. But I am going to do something special in Aeon's End. If you guys don't know, it is a deck building game. It's just, I think it's really unique. Like I said when I talked to Alex, to me, it's an evolution in the system. Well, I can't really know evolution is probably a little bit too strong of a word, but it has the game system in terms of being a deck builder. I think they've taken a lot of different systems and they've looked at smoothing those off and cutting the edges just right to fit all of those together to bring a really neat experience overall. And it's not necessarily trying to, have this one hook to hook you in. It's trying to hook you in with the overall design excellence of how things have been put together in the system. That's how I view Aeon's End. That's been my experience with it since I received the first one for a Christmas gift back here just this past Christmas in 2020, and just fell in love with the system. So I'm really, really excited about it. This one is bigger in terms of content than the other ones have been, and it looks like they're about to internally, and listening to some things that they did on a podcast, I believe it was with Board Game Barbecue, where they announced it and they gave a little bit of details. Internally, it looks like they're about to go into a little bit different phase in terms of how they look at even producing it moving forward. This is the end of, obviously, the Gravehold story, which has been the main storyline through all of the games to this point. So maybe moving forward, we're going to be getting some different, exciting stuff. That'll be for the future. But for now, absolutely, positively, cannot wait for that big old box of Aeon's End Legacy of Gravehold to reach my table. By then, Alex will have been will have played the ones that I have.
Voluntold.
Yes, to play them. So maybe, hopefully, we'll get him at least excited to play them. I'm not necessarily trying to convert him because I own it, so there's no reason for him to do that. But I think the system is really good. He played it before I did.
I played
it. And it didn't strike you the way it struck me.
No, and I mean, I think I played like the original version of it, or something.
Which I don't own the first box yet.
Yeah,
so.
it was bland. But there's a very good chance I could have been playing it wrong too.
Okay.
So.
Okay, I take that.
Yeah,
I take that. But no, I do. I adore the system. I think it's really well done. And so that is the last one for me. Did you do your last one?
No, I have.
You've got one more.
Yeah, I've got one more.
Sweet.
So my
segment keeps on giving.
Keeps on giving. I don't know if it does. It might take away as well. But my next game is not a game that will be released in 2021, but it is something that it's on my dwindling list of games that I want to acquire for myself. So as I look forward to 2021, I'm looking to this game. It's not a game that you could have actually played in 2020. And so that is a Sidereal Confluence Remastered Edition. I have talked about this game ad nauseum on the show.
Yes.
I've mentioned it.
Another bingo word.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's true. Someone could actually have bingo by now.
2.
Oh, Carl got bingo. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are new to the podcast, he's not even a sidekick. You're more important than a sidekick. We're literally your sidekick.
He's the foundation of the show.
That's true. But our sound engineer is Carl. He is our offstage conscience, and also can just cut us out, which is pretty fun. So we treat him with great respect and admiration. So it's Sidereal Confluence. This is by WizKids Games. It is by Tassetti Deichmann. I'm going to go for that. Close enough. But it is the remastered edition. And this game has to be played with 4 to 9 players. So that's why I think 2020 was not its year, which is unfortunately when the remastered edition came out. But I do hope to acquire this one this year, because I do think once things start opening up at the end of this year or the beginning of 2022, this will be one of those things where, like, I truly want to. I mean, I still think about that first time that we played. Well, you didn't play with us, did you?
I did not.
You did not. Okay, but the first time we played at Tennessee,
it looked like madness.
Yeah, it was madness, and that's what's so great about it. It's a real time. Yeah. It's a real time commodities game.
That one's not coming with Larry Insurance. Just gonna put that out there.
That's fine. That's fine. You don't have to have that one. But that's Sidereal Confluence Remastered Edition. All right, Larry. I think that brings us to the end of that segment.
It does, which is really cool. So we'll take a short break and hear from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back.
We want to thank the sponsors of today's episode, our friends at Van Ryder Games.
Creators of award-winning games such as the single-player Hostage Negotiator and the One vs. Many Detective City of Angels.
You can find their full catalog of games, including their graphic novel adventures, at vanrydergames.com. That's VANRYDERGAMES.com, your FLGS, or wherever you buy your games online.
Welcome to the world of tomorrow!
Oh, that's so good.
What are you doing, man?
I wanted to see how long you would wiggle your fingers at me.
So clearly we're back. So we're going to get into this last segment. We're going to get into something we started late last year. So it's called Shelf or Table. And in this series, we like to examine the phenomenon of collecting board games. In each segment, we wanted to look at one particular facet of this integral part of our lives.
Ooh, integral. Ooh, bingo, bingo!
And this time, Alex, what are we looking at, sir?
Box bloat. That's a term did we coin that? in our conversation?
I'm going to say yes.
Let's do that. That's going to be our claim to fame. That's what it'll be on our T-shirt. Box bloat.
So we're going to define it.
Are your boxes bloated? Do they not fit in your shelf the way that you intended them to?
Okay, that sounds like something else. Let's.
So,
all right.
what is box bloat, Larry?
Box bloat. We want to define it, so we are going to talk about it. And so I think what we were speaking of is in terms of as games are moving forward, should I say as a hobby is moving forward these last 5 to 10 years, some boxes seem to be getting bigger. You seem to be getting boxes, and once you break them down, you know, when you get all of everything punched and everything put together and bagged, some base game boxes are huge.
Yeah.
There's so much what we think is empty, wasted space. And what that is, we want to define that. What that is in terms of that, it's not empty or wasted space. The publisher has an idea and a plan, a real plan, because they spent money on a bigger box to give you more content.
Right.
And they want to have it in that one box because, again, like we talked about way back in the early part, when board games come home, they're still competing for shelf space.
That's right.
On your shelf.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to grab you. Why would you come grab this over that one? So instead of having 3 or 4 different boxes, publishers are getting to the point now they're trying to say, you know what, let's give them one big one. That way they save money in the long run because those expansions come in tuck boxes and little throwaway cardboard paper things because you're going to put it in the big box.
Yep.
But that causes a problem on your Cadillac shelves at the house.
But and for those of you who've been with us for a while, or in those new, like shelf space is at a complete premium at my house. Typically, it's one board. It's a new game in and an old game out, unless it really finds its where something says like no, you need to keep both. And
things are oppressive in Alexville.
Yes. But
in Larry Andia, we just got all the space we need.
Larry Andia.
I'm kidding.
That's right. He's actually having to buy a new house just for his old board games.
Well, it's not for the board games.
It kind of is.
Only.
Yeah, so some people get like land for dogs. Larry's just getting a house for his board games. But no, so some things that come to our mind when we think of box bloat or just large unwieldy boxes. We have Edge of Darkness by AEG. We have Thunderstone, Quest. I guess is AEG as well. We have.
They are. Those boxes don't have any wasted space in them.
No, but they're not. I'm not saying it's wasted.
Yeah.
They're just huge boxes.
They are, man. They're ginormous.
Right. So Aeon's End itself is a large.
And you know what's
box.
funny? It's interesting that you bring that up because I was thinking of some games that, like my games, they're slightly bigger. They're not that much bigger, but they are. Nemo's War and Dawn of the Zed's Third Ed is kind of what I was thinking of. And basically, what the publisher did, they turned around and they issued new boxes with one of the corresponding Kickstarters. It's slightly bigger, but it was designed to hold everything. Because when those boxes first came, they weren't big enough to hold everything.
Yeah.
And then also, too, the boxes, and there's, my friends over there, and I love the game, obviously, talking about Sentinels of the Multiverse. Yeah. If you've gotten one of those, when you first opened those, they had tons of space in them.
Yeah.
And that was a reason. They were building in sleeving space, but then there were expansions because they had those little small ones.
Yeah.
But when you got those boxes, it's like, dude, this is huge. Why is this? And so that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and so, but Oblivion is huge. The box for Oblivion is massive.
Well, it's the normal one. That box is the collector's box.
Oh, the collector's box.
Yeah,
Okay.
the one you're
But then for those of you who've seen the new Anachrony Infinity box, huge. And actually, what was the catalyst for this story? Was I received my Millennium Blades expansion.
That's a perfect example.
Collusion. So Collusion was. Or the original Millennium Blades, I had boxes all over the house.
Yep.
Just different things. So they're like, all right, we're going to create a solution for
which
you
I think is great.
That you can store everything that we have created sleeved.
Including your 4-year-old.
Yes. And so what I got was 2 enormous boxes that actually fit together, and then they do that kind of with that new thing when they, the box sleeve, which I think is silly. But they had but what was cool that I read through the thing, and they're like, you only need one of these boxes if you're not sleeving. And so I was able to actually go and store the other one. So that's cool because I don't want to necessarily throw it away.
Right.
But it's still, the box is massive.
Yep.
The box is massive. I think of what's the Monumental. That's going to get big.
Yep.
Now, but to the opposite end of that, something I've seen that has gone a long way of actually saving space and keeping everything quite small. Root. So by Letter Games, there's a lot of content out there, and I have all of it, and it still only fits less than the main box for Monumental, or half of Collusion.
Right.
But I guess ultimately, as a board game collector, as a consumer, that's all well and good with the retailers wanting to give us an opportunity to keep everything together. But eventually, space runs out.
Well, it does, depending on if your older titles don't get the same treatment, right? If this new game is coming in, if your games are sitting how you want them, maybe have a few spaces here or there. If you put some stuff together, rearrange some stuff, you can only do that so long. If certain boxes keep getting bigger and others don't get any smaller.
Yeah.
So, but one of the other things that you can do, obviously, I was going to say one of the practical applications of going around it. Be honest in your assessment, which you've already mentioned. You're not going to need the second box. You didn't get rid of it, but you stored it because you're not going to sleeve the cards. That's one thing. Be honest with yourself. If you're not going to do it, then don't. But also, too, I think the other one is something we've talked about before as well, which is get an insert for some of your older games, because some of your older games are across 3 or 4 boxes and don't necessarily need to be. Mm-hmm. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm looking at my Ascension collection. Now, I mean, granted, I own more copies of Ascension than will probably fit even in its collector's box. Mm-hmm. But man, if I could get those 6 boxes down to 1 or 2 boxes, that I could put other things in that shelf. They take up a whole cube by themselves. Right. It's just Ascension stuff. And I've got a few other ones that are like that as well. But that's something that in some of these cases, old games, Maroonbound, second ed, it literally still has the original Fantasy Flight insert in it.
Oh, talk about box not bloat.
Well, I mean, because I flipped the insert over so that I get the 2 channels instead of the one big one in the middle. But, I mean, there's no space in that box. Yeah. But if I were to get an insert, I've got all of my little packs, because I bought several little packs. They're in there, but there are some things that are out. But if I got an insert for that, if one existed, I don't know if it does now, I could probably get all of that in there. And then again, like you said, so that's something that you can do to go against it in terms of, or to mitigate it. And I know some people don't care. Some people aren't attached to boxes. Yeah. I see posts all the time where people, they got this brand new game, and the first thing they did was they went out and they bought a little Plano box or something. They throw the game box completely away. I ain't gonna do that. Yeah. But I know there are people that do. So that's an option as well. But box bloat, I think it is a thing.
Do you think, in your assessment of like specifically this kind of Kickstarter mentality, do you think we're going to continue to see the trends of board game boxes just getting larger and larger as a whole? Or do you think that that's only going to be relegated to just a handful of games that actually need it for the content, or just want to say hey, look, I got the biggest box out there?
That's a really interesting question. As long as things are the way that they are now, I think it's a very nuanced question in terms of with the pandemic and us still needing to stay apart. Kickstarter and online period has de facto taken the place and kind of stepped in front in terms of retail, specifically talking about board games. So like we said, what drove box size before, right? Shelf space in the retail store.
That's true.
Now that's not a concern. So I think so long as conditions stay the way that they are, or if we go back when the new normal, whenever that comes, whatever that looks like, if there's a mix still being anywhere near as strong as it is now of online stuff, then I think they'll keep growing, right? If we get back to a point to where we're out more than we're not, and we're able to, get back together and mingle together and go meet in these places where the retail store reasserts its dominance or its importance in that, then I think you're going to see it kind of, it'll correct itself, so to speak.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and it'll downsize just a bit because again, you got to have a proven winner to send a giant box to a retailer. You don't have space for that, because the more options he has in his store or her store, the more options they present, the more options they have to make money. So they're not trying to have a whole bunch of giant boxes. That cuts down on the overall, which makes sense. That just makes sense. Retail space is at a premium. So taking that out of the equation, I think that's part of the reason why. And again, it's catchy. And again, like I said, they have to repeat for shelf space twice because you got to go and play it, right? Or it does what? It changes hands. You get rid of it. Some people are really good at culling. I don't play it, so I'm going to get rid of it. I mean, that doesn't hurt them other than the fact that in your mindset, you're probably not going back to that publisher or that designer. Yeah. Why? I sold that last game. So they're still competing for space. So even in that case, now if you're going directly to the home, you do want the box as big as possible. For the same reason. I don't want you to have so many options. My box is so big, that game you wanted from ASMODEE, you can't get now.
That's right. You say got a space.
You don't have room. So for that opposite reason, I think that's part of it. And again, you get artwork and it's flashy and all of those things. I personally like the thought of having a game with a bunch of different moving bits and pieces and having them all in one space. But I own 2 kits like that with the collector box from Sentinels of the Multiverse. Not practical to move it.
Yeah, it's not.
It's sturdy enough. It's not cheap. It's sturdy enough, but it's so stinking heavy.
Yeah.
And by move it, I mean move it out of my home to play an app.
Yeah, right. Like to bring it with you somewhere to play.
It's not practical.
Yeah.
And Ogre really isn't either. I mean, it is because it has the bag which holds it, but they're so big.
Well, and in games, like when I think about carrying, like when pre-pandemic, when going over.
Because I took Edge of Darkness.
Yeah. Oh, that was dumb. That game. Ooh, blessed.
I loved it. It was great.
That,
The game was great.
No, I'm playing Canvas if I'm gonna play that game. So, because Canvas just does the Edge of Darkness better.
No, it don't.
Yes, it does.
No, it don't. It does the other one better, but it don't do Edge of Darkness.
Mystic Veil?
Yeah.
No.
It do that better.
No.
For me, it does.
Yeah.
No, you're forgetting Edge of Darkness. You're forgetting the interesting part of Edge of Darkness.
The-
That communal deck building thing
the
was
part I didn't
fantastic.
like.
Oh, it was fantastic.
So okay. Regardless, Edge of Darkness. It was a big box, and it
Oh, that's right. You was playing it wrong.
it was the box's fault.
I won't be carrying that bugger no
Yeah,
more.
no,
that's
but
for sure.
that brings up a really interesting point. Pre-COVID, or even if you are able to participate in game nights, like a large box. If I'm going to bring Millennium Blades, typically I like to bring options.
That's what we. Yeah, and
I like to bring options, but a box that is such a big box.
it is the option.
Yeah, I can't walk out of my house with more
Then now we
than-
want to play Sentinels. Okay, hey, can you bring? I'm bringing Sentinels.
yeah. That's all we have.
And when I pull up, I'm gonna need all of y'all to come out and help me bring it in the house.
Right, and so that's one of the concerns I have with these really large boxes is that it limits just the versatility of what you're able to bring and put in front of people if you're not in your own house.
I mean, and that's valid. That's valid. I
And
would.
now it does again. That's not something to like completely redefine the industry.
Yeah.
But it is something. It is a concern
Right,
that
it's a concern.
I
Right.
as a consumer have.
Right. No. That's good. That's good stuff. So Box Bloat. I mean, it's a thing. Be mindful. Hey,
But let
my
me.
segment about how much space you're gonna need, I get to expand it.
Oh bless.
I can't wait. You know what I'm doing next show?
I don't. Mm-mm.
Yes.
You are listen, folks. Larry for real puts a game on a table, and then that man measures that mess.
I'm gonna measure the space on the shelf now.
Oh gosh. Nobody in their right mind will go through and go, "Oh, Larry says that's 3 inches by 8 inches."
Well, ain't none of the boxes we talking about gonna be that small.
That's
so
true.
they're gonna be feet.
Yeah.
I'm doing ogre first.
Ogre first. Oh, excellent. All right. Well, hey, that was a good talk. I mean, I thought there's some interesting tidbits.
It
Things
really,
to
really was. You know what I think?
marinate on.
I think that brings us to
Uh-oh.
episode number 84. You know what
Uh-oh.
that brings us to?
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Wow. Maybe that goes on our shirt. Maybe that. I think maybe the wow. You think the wow?
We put wow on the front and we're back on the back.
And that's clever. And we're back on the back. Oh, I like it. Okay. Yeah. All right. So if somebody can make that for us, you know what?
We can make it.
Here's what I just realized. We don't have any fan art.
You just need a Sharpie and a t-shirt.
That's true. Hey, pledge on Patreon, folks. That's gonna be your shirt.
That's the real deal right
Yeah,
there.
that's right. It's like a signature and a piece of merch. But listen, Larry and I do not have any fan art. And we know that we have not made it until we get some fan art. I may have to draw my own fan art. It's going to be 2 stick figures.
I'm going to point out to everyone that Alex is the only one talking about fan art. So direct all your art up, Alex, to Alex.
Oh, my God.
Send it to our email at thespokentokenpodcast@gmail.com.
The
And
more
we will
lu-
be sure he gets it.
That's right. The more ludicrous, the better.
Oh.
Please. Absolutely.
Oh, don't do that.
We better end this show quick.
It's too late. So thank you for coming out and spending some time with us.
And for the spoken token, this is Alex Wallace saying, keep playing.
And this is Larry Neal saying, keep the music.
This has been the Spoken Token Podcast. If you'd like to interact with us, please contact us through email at thespokentokenpodcast@gmail.com, on Instagram at The Spoken Token Podcast, on Twitter at The Spoken Token, or on Facebook at The Spoken Token Podcast. And you can reach us through our BGG Guild number 2656.
You are listening to a Pod Studio One Podcast Network podcast. Find more great podcasts at www.podstudio1.com.
So we're going to identify the trend,
my boxes are bloated. It hurts.
and we want to discuss some reasons why it's happening.
All right, come on, bring that in because I did interrupt. This is actually a legitimate conversation, and I don't want to hijack it with my idiocy. Idiocy? Idiot.
Woo!
Bingo.
So Carl is playing a completely separate game of bingo of how many words can Alex mispronounce.
Hey, that's legitimate.